What's going on, guys? My name is Jeffrey. Welcome back to Reactions, and to reacting to The Most Beautiful Life Goes On, a story of BTS. So this is the long-awaited video. I was going to do this for a while now, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. It's a bit of a long video, that's why I think it probably took forever. But yeah, if you're new here, definitely subscribe and click the like button. I'm like less than 5 subs off of 1,000 on this channel. So if you are, you feeling nice, definitely subscribe. Definitely a lot more BTS coming. I believe there's gonna be a new album like within next 2 months. I think so. So yeah, confirm that in the comments. I don't know, that's just what I've been hearing, seeing on Twitter. So yeah, everyone's having a great day, and let's check this out.
Today, everyone knows the name.
Yo, he scared me. I did not expect the guy to pop up that quick.
BTS.
Yeah, he's got that.
They've been invited onto late night talk shows. They've shattered records. They've sold out stadiums. They've made it onto the big screen. These days.
By the way, I just bought a Map of the Soul 7 like album thing. It's like a rectangular. You guys know what I'm talking about? I don't know, like it's like rectangular. It's very like thin kind of. It's like kind of like a book thing. It seems like I haven't opened it yet. I kind of want to keep it in its wrapping, but yeah, I did buy a Map of the Soul 7 album, so that's pretty sick.
You'd be hard pressed to find someone who didn't know who these guys were, or at least haven't heard one of their songs. And if they don't, either they've been living under a rock or they're 100 years old. The success of the Bang 10 Boys is worldwide, but it wasn't always like this.
And it all started with one man, YG. YG wanted to make himself a rap group. In the late 90s, he experimented with this idea with different trainees, eventually choosing 7 members. And while 3 of them eventually left, the remaining 4, Teddy, Danny, Jinhwan, and Baekhyun, debuted in 1998 as One Time. Their first album, titled One for Your Mind, was one of the year's best-selling albums and won several awards, including the Global Disc.
I did not know that. This is actually like all really new info to me. This is really cool.
And SBS Music Awards for Best New Artist and KMTV's award for Best Hip Hop Artist. The group enjoyed moderate success and released 4 more albums before going on indefinite hiatus in 2006 due to their mandatory military service.
The year was 2010, and the 5-year-old company Big Hit Entertainment had previously signed 2 artists, 88 and 2AM. They had their share of successes, but they were very traditional K-pop groups. Big Hit wanted a fresh new sound, and upon listening to One Time, CEO Hitman Bang Si-hyuk had decided that that was the sound that he was looking for. And on top of that, the youth needed someone to relate to, and more importantly, look up to. He had decided he would create a hip-hop group.
Hey, RM!
At 15 years old, Kim Namjoon auditioned for a certain Big Deal Records, which he
15, I did not know
forgetting the lyrics to the song he was performing. Afterwards, fellow rapper Sleepy recommended that he try auditioning at another label, Big Hit, and even put in a good word for him to one of the producers there. At age 16, Kim auditioned in front of Bang Si-hyuk himself and instantly impressed him. He was offered a deal with Big Hit on the spot, which Kim accepted and became a trainee, officially choosing a name for himself, Rap Monster, destined to become the leader of the newly created group. Now that a fearless leader was chosen, they needed more members.
I love this so much, man. What's up, Suga?
Min Young-gi was a 17-year-old living in Daegu, an avid basketball player and rapper. He had been interested in music, especially rap, from a very early age, and despite his parents' disapproval, started performing as a rapper while still in high school. He quickly gained attention as a rapper and producer in the underground hip-hop scene. One day he saw a flyer for a rap competition called Hit It and decided to participate. And although he only placed second, the company hosting the competition, you guessed it, Big Hit, decided to sign him on as a producer. Hitman Bang spoke with him afterwards, convincing him to join a newly created hip-hop group. He told him to just focus on rapping and assured him that he wouldn't need to dance. He was lying. And just like that, the new group had a second member, known as Suga. A combination of...
Yo, he was not trying to dance. He was not. Now look at him. Look at him now. Look at him now.
The first 2 syllables of shooting guard, his favorite position in basketball.
I did not know that's why it's... That's so cool.
A combination...
I'm learning so much new stuff from this.
The first 2 syllables of shooting guard, his favorite position in basketball. But they wouldn't stop there. Rappers were nice, but Big Hit actually needed a dancer.
Oh, J-Hope, bro. My favorite. I love you.
Jung Ho-seok always loved dancing. He was in the starting lineup of the dance crew Neuron in his hometown, Gwangju. He was good at it too, winning several local championships and even winning a championship at the national level in 2008. When he decided to audition for JYP Entertainment though, after a few rounds of auditions, he was cut. Fortunately, he didn't give up and went to his second option, a smaller, lesser-known company, Big Hit Entertainment. His dance skills and strong understanding of rhythm made him an instant favorite, and he was signed on as J-Hope. Not only that, but they saw potential in him to become a rapper, which at this point he had little experience with. However, J-Hope quickly felt that he wasn't a good fit and decided to leave Big Hit until RM convinced both J-Hope and Big Hit that the group wouldn't be complete without him. He was right.
근데 형 항상 중앙보이 아니에요?
종호석 와야 된다고. 종호석 안 오면 진짜 안 된다고. 멤버 그냥 믿고 간 거야 나도 그냥. 올해 했고 멤버 보고 왔. 멤버 보고 왔어 진짜. 근데 나는 진짜 네가 그 예약.
With the addition of J-Hope, the rap line was complete. Now they needed some singers. Now, just like how RM, an amazing rapper with a ton of experience, was chosen as the first official member of the rap line, it would only make sense that a legendary singer and dancer would be the perfect first member of the vocal line. Right?
Hey, let's go, Jin.
But Kim Seok-jin didn't have any sort of experience like that. Believe it or not, one day when he was walking on the streets of his hometown, Anyang, he was approached by a representative
I did know this story. This story is really cool. I did know this story.
of SM Entertainment with an offer to work for the company. In typical Jin fashion, he never followed up with them because he believed it to be a scam. Apparently, Jin was a very good-looking
So
guy
funny
because
to
years
me.
later, this time as a college student in Seoul, he was once again approached on the street, this time by an executive at Big Hit Entertainment.
God, I'm so upset. I'm a little upset they did away with it's like J hype and everything. A little kind of bothers me. I'll get used to it, but you know, it's whatever, man. It's whatever. Nostalgia, bro.
He didn't sing,
Nostalgia.
he didn't dance. He was at school to become an actor, and he decided to audition to become an actor. Big Hit, however, had different plans for him, and convinced him to become a vocalist for their new group. To do so, he literally learned to dance and sing starting from zero. But thankfully,
Wow.
not without help from other vocalists.
That's so impressive. That's really impressive. Hey,
Jung Jung-kook initially had dreams of becoming a badminton player when he was young, but after seeing G-Dragon perform Heartbreaker on television, it influenced him to want to become a singer instead. Because of this, at only age 14, he decided to audition for the South Korean talent show, Superstar K. He didn't pass auditions,
What a
but this was
baby.
just enough to catch the eye of not
Look at the
one
hair.
company, not two companies, but 7 different companies. This included JYP, FNC, Woollim, Starship Entertainment, TS, Cube, and of course, Big Hit.
So at this point, like JYP is probably the biggest, right? At this point, I'm sure there are others, but like out of the 7, I've only heard of like JYP still. I'm pretty sure JYP is still super big. I haven't heard of any of the others.
Entertainment.
So
So why did Jungkook, given the choice of all these bigger companies, decide to go with the relatively smaller?
that's what because JYP I'm sure was probably like super big. So yeah, that's actually really interesting. He did pick Big Hit. Respect.
Big Hit? The answer was simple, because he thought, and I quote, RM was cool, so I wanted to sign with them. That brings the number of members to 5. The next member of BTS was just as surprised to find Big Hit as Big Hit was to find him, and it
Jimmy
almost
V.
didn't happen. Kim Tae-young was always passionate about music, and it was always his dream to pursue it as a career. However, it was hard, as his family was poor, his parents being humble farmers. His father told him that
Wow, I
if he
did
was
not know
passionate
that.
about music, he should learn an instrument, and he did, spending 3 years practicing with the saxophone. One day,
Hey.
one of his friends decided to audition for Big Hit Entertainment when they were holding auditions in his hometown of Daegu. Taeyoung, being a good friend, came with him to keep him company. But when one of the team members in charge of the audition saw Taeyoung, he encouraged him to audition as well. With nothing to lose, he did. That day, he was the only one in Daegu to move on to the next round of auditions, and eventually
What
became
are
a trainee.
What are the chances of all these this is so insane, just all these little things that have added up into this is just meant to be, man. Stuff like this, it just feels like it was meant to be for BTS to just become a thing. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like all these things to happen, man. It feels meant to be.
For Big Hit Entertainment. They decided to keep him as a
But
surprise.
it shows the power of like getting yourself out there and just trying. You know what I mean? A lot of people just never try, so that's just why it never happens for them. But if you like get out there and you just try, a lot of good things might happen to you. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't go good. But look what happens if it does go good. Like, just get out there and try, man. Just try.
Member, and didn't want to reveal him as one of the members until his debut. In the same vein, Big Hit had him choose something mysterious for his stage name. He decided to go with V for victory. Here seems like a nice round number to stop, right? 6
for
members for
victory.
a new hip-hop group, 3 rappers, and 3 vocalists.
God, dude. God. V looks good in that one, bro. V looks good in that picture.
It seems like a complete group, but still there was something missing. Someone was missing. Someone that could take this already great group of artists and push it even further to achieve perfection.
Come on,
a powerhouse. Someone so naturally talented that they could stand out in a room full of already talented artists. This project that Big Hit had embarked upon needed a capstone. Park Jimin was a naturally talented dancer. When he was in middle school, he attended a dance academy and continued to pursue dance at Busan High School of Arts, where he studied contemporary dance and was the top student in the whole modern dance department. Impressed by his raw talent, a teacher encouraged him to audition for Big Hit Entertainment, who were holding auditions in Busan. He was only 16 when he passed the audition and moved to—
You guys ever watch the movie Train to Busan? It's a South Korean film. Great movie. I just watched Parasite, actually. Once again, dude. Bong Joon-ho, the director, that guy's brilliant, man. That guy's above everything. Guy's above everything. Parasite and Train to Busan, amazing films.
Sold to become a trainee. He was the final member of the group, and he also had the shortest training period.
What's interesting to note is that the group feels very much ragtag because in a sense, with the exception of Jimin, it was. RM and J-Hope only auditioned for Big Hit because they didn't pass their auditions with the first company they chose. And despite their amazing talent, Suga and Jungkook didn't win the competitions they were in, but they signed on to Big Hit after the fact because of their high quality performances. V never even planned on auditioning and just decided to do it on a whim. And they literally just found Jin on the streets, but perhaps it was fate. Because this was the group that they chose. And just like that, in 2012, the newly created Bangtanso년.
Because it was like, it's like a group of, I don't want to call them rejects, but like the way they make it, like them getting denied and them not really like a lot of them were like not like new to this. Like it's like the group of like rejects in a sense, where it's like, of course they're not, you know what I mean? But like I feel like that's like the analogy, and then them like overgrowing all these obstacles. Like that's why I think they're just so big too, is because the characters that have evolved because of all the obstacles they've come through. You know what I mean? That just makes it that much more sweeter that they got denied. They had that happen, and it just builds that much more character. I think that's why they're so strong today, man. That's why nobody can bring them down, man. Because they weren't just like so good that everyone was like, yes, just come on, come join. And then they make some music, and there's some characters though, man. There's character. It's like a movie. You really want to care about these people just because everything that they clearly went through just to achieve their dreams. Some of them they didn't even know it was their dream. So just, man, it's like, it's beautiful, man. It's really the most beautiful. I love it, man. I love this video so much.
The Bulletproof Boy Scouts,
one of the best videos I've ever
seen. BTS was 7.
저도 아침에 리허설 때 이거 보고 많이 웃었습니다.
They had the group, but they still needed the music. In early 2013, they set out to create some social media presence.
Like, look, 2013, this is 8 years, man. This is 8 years.
For themselves before officially debuting, posting song covers on both SoundCloud and YouTube, which you can still go watch today.
In May, Big Hit launched a countdown clock on their website in preparation for BTS's debut album, complete with a trailer and a ton of promotional material, including photos for the first time of all the members in the official lineup. Finally, the big day came. June 12, 2013, BTS held a press conference and a debut showcase where they performed their 2 singles, No More Dream and We Are Bulletproof Part 2. The same day, the Too Cool for School album, as well as the music video for No More Dream, were released. The very next day, BTS performed the song again on their official debut stage on Mnet's M Countdown. This was the world's first taste of BTS. Commercially, the album didn't do extraordinarily well. The lead single, No More Dream, peaked at 124 in Korea, and the album sold only 24,000 copies during its first year. Bulletproof Part 2 didn't even chart. The first year wasn't all that great for BTS, but despite everything, people saw them.
They just got their name out there.
People saw the sparkle in their eyes and their limitless potential. And they were hot, of course. On July 9th, ARMY was established as BTS's official fandom. They made their comeback only 2 months later in September when they released their single, No, along with their EP, part 2 of what would be their school trilogy, Oh, Are You Late 2. In the music video for the single, they made a commentary on the harsh Korean education system, along with their previous themes of hopes and dreams. No peaked at 92 in Korea, but also quickly fell off the charts. The album debuted at number 4 on the Gaon Weekly chart and was the 55th best-selling album in South Korea that year. This was enough to secure them the coveted New Artist of the Year award at the Melon Music Awards, the Golden Disc Awards, and the Seoul Music Awards. Part 3 of the School trilogy was released in February of 2014, the EP School Love Affair. This time, the lead single was Boy in Love. And the other single being Just One Day. The album, as well as both singles, enjoyed moderate success, with the album topping the Gaon album chart as well as making its first international appearance at number 3 on the Billboard World Albums chart. The album also marked their first distinctive change in theme, focusing more on school life and young love, as evidenced by their Boy in Love music video. They also held their first fan meetings with a crowd of 3,000 in Seoul. BTS was doing well. That is, until July. This is, unfortunately, a dark chapter in the lives of BTS and ARMY. That's right, American Hustle Life. I'm joking, of course, but American Hustle Life was a reality show put together by Mnet that brought BTS to Los Angeles, where they had the unique opportunity to learn the true ways of hip-hop from the masters. And it was a pretty darn cringy opportunity, but an opportunity nonetheless. Whatever you do, just don't watch the Warren G version of Boy in Love. You've been warned. However, cringe and all, the trip proved fruitful for BTS, making connections, performing their first US concert for free in front of 200 fans, as well as their first appearance at KCON. The next month, in August, BTS released their first full-length studio album, Dark and Wild. The album featured 2 singles, Danger and War of Hormones.
I don't think I've checked out the War of Hormones.
The album
before.
featured a marked shift in sound with a touch of R&B and electronica. It was met with moderate success. It peaked at number 2 in Korea, selling over 200,000 albums. In October and again in May of the following year, BTS went on their first and second concert tours, known as the Red Bullet Tour, where they visited 13 different countries, including Japan, the Philippines, Australia, the US, Mexico, and many others. They also came out with their first Japanese album in December, Wake Up, featuring many Japanese versions of their songs as well as original tracks Wake Up and The Stars, followed by a Japan tour and a solo concert in Korea. Although Dark and Wild got decent attention, they needed something different. They needed something that would shake things up. They got to work. April 29, 2015 was their comeback. When this album was produced, each member had a hand in writing songs for the album. They again changed their sound, from aggressive hip-hop to youthful, colorful styles. And not only their sound, but their image as well. This can be evidenced by their newest EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. And just by looking at the album cover, they ditched the dark colors and the bulletproof vest symbol that had become so synonymous with BTS, and replaced it with a simple white and pink background overlaid with the title. And then, they dropped the single that would change everything. I Need You. It was sentimental, it was hopeful, it was new. Just by looking at the music video, we can see that BTS has also ditched their punk bad boy image and replaced it with a more real, vulnerable, down-to-earth, and youthful feel. This proved to be the change that BTS needed for mainstream success. Billboard called it one of the greatest K-pop songs of the decade. It charted at number 5 in Korea, and even led them to their first music show win on SBS MTV's The Show. And that wasn't all, they released their second single, Dope, on June 24th, which started off with a poignant line from RM.
어서 와. 방탄은 처음이지?
Welcome. Is this your first time with BTS? And you know what? For a lot of people, it was. In a way, their first studio album and tour can be seen as their stepping stone between old school BTS and new school. In November, they came back with their follow-up EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Part 2, the second EP in what would be dubbed the Youth Trilogy, which featured the single Run.
Come on, best songs also.
The album focused even more on the frivolity, friendship, and carefree attitude that comes with enjoying one's youth, but just like in I Need You, contrasted that with suffering, depression, loneliness, society, and the stark and sometimes dark reality of life. Compare this with the far cry of the No More Dreams music video. It felt real. It was darker, grittier, more humble, more meaningful, and most importantly, RM lost his mohawk. Run also connected narratively with their previous single, I Need You, and another video released in September titled On Stage Prologue established what would come to be known as the BTS universe, or the BU. which would eventually combine music videos, short films, books, short stories, webtoons, and even a mobile game to create a cohesive story.
I did not know
and
they
I
had a
won't go down
mobile
this
game.
rabbit hole because there is a lot to digest, but it's definitely something to look into if you're a
I
hardcore
should play that for a video if it's still a thing.
army. The same month, they kicked off their third tour, the Most Beautiful Moment in Life on-stage tour, where they performed songs from their two recent EPs, Part 1 and Part 2. And Part 2 was a hit, their biggest so far. It topped the Weekly Gaon album and Billboard World Albums charts, and on Billboard, it stayed there for multiple weeks, the first K-pop act to do so. It also appeared on the Billboard 200 albums chart, not world albums, which was reserved for foreign non-English songs, but simply the top 200 albums, peaking at 171. Which is kind of amazing considering that this was back in 2015. They also received Best World Performer at the 17th Mnet Asian Music Awards. This brings us to part 3 of the Youth Trilogy. The most
So much progress in 2 years, by the way. Just like the rebranding and the comebacks and just like how they adapted and just the evolution of them within such a short period of time. Just always working to figure out something new to try is just respect.
Beautiful
Man.
Moment in Life, Young Forever, released on May 2nd, 2016, which featured probably my favorite BTS album cover. Young Forever was actually a
that is a
compilation album
beautiful
of
one.
parts 1 and 2, so it was mostly the same songs, but it was notable that it had some new singles, Epilogue, Young Forever, Fire, and Save Me. The latter two performed exceptionally well,
All
with
great
both songs
songs.
topping the Billboard World Digital Songs
Look at
chart.
them go.
This was
Ah,
also the second BTS
kings.
album to chart on the Billboard 200 at 107, and it topped both the Gaon weekly and monthly chart, which earned BTS their first Daesang.
방탄소년단 축하드립니다.
Album of the Year at the 8th Melon Music Awards. They went on to do the second half of their tour, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life on Stage Epilogue, selling out many of their concerts and even selling out KCON.
I'm getting like chills watching this. This is amazing, man. This is great job, whoever the guy who made this person. You did a great job. I think you did an amazing job, and there's really no it's a beautiful story, man. It's a beautiful story. I just love the going up, the downs, everything about this, man. It just makes it that much more sweet. It sucks having downs, but it made them that much more stronger and makes it that much sweeter. That it just all came to fruition, and it was successful.
US, where they headlined the event. In September, they dropped their second Japanese album, Youth, featuring Japanese versions of tracks from their previous 3 EPs.
Iconic,
Went gold
dude.
and peaked at number
Iconic.
1 on Japanese charts. And only a month later, in October of 2016, it happened. BTS dropped their second studio album, Wings. It sold over 500,000 copies in its first week. In comparison, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1, released just the previous year, which topped the Gaon chart, sold about 500,000 in its entire lifetime. Wings
Wow.
was big, but the true showstopper was its lead single, Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
It's crazy how much better they got over time, man. They always improved.
Which
It's
got them their
crazy.
first all-kill, topping 8 music charts in South Korea. Its music video gained 6 million views in the first 24 hours, which broke the YouTube record
Didn't Dynamite get like 50 million or 75 million or something crazy?
for the highest number of views of a K-pop group music video within 24 hours. The album hit number 26 on the Billboard 200, the highest ever charting K-pop album
Look at that,
on
dude.
Billboard.
That
They
was
ended up
next to
selling
Adele.
1.5 million copies in South Korea in 2016 alone, and it netted them the Artist of the Year award at the Mnet Asian Music Awards that same year, the first non-Big 3 artist ever to receive that award.
수상자는 방탄소년단.
After Blood, Sweat, and Tears, they were on a roll. BTS was unstoppable. In February of 2017, they released the instant hit Spring Day, which, quoting a Korean reviewer, embodied nostalgia and sorrow and opened a new chapter in BTS's aesthetics and lyricism and attracted fans across generational boundaries. Which, by the way, is still on Korean charts after nearly 4 years, and the same day I'm writing this, it ranked number 53 on Melon. It won Song of the Year at the 9th Melon Music Awards. After the release of Spring Day, they went on yet another tour, the 2017 BTS Live Trilogy, Episode 3, The Wings Tour. The tickets sold out within minutes, including in the United States, the first K-pop artist to do so, and went on to win Best Social Artist at the Billboard Music Awards. The first for a Korean artist, but they would go on to win
Grammys
this
next,
award
baby.
4
Grammys
years
next.
in a row. The next year
Grammys
was a
next.
period of massive growth for both the group's popularity as well as their style. They
I
released
can't wait to see when they win Best Album at the Grammys. It's gonna be there, dude. it's gonna be a moment. It's gonna be a moment, and I hope one day they deserve it, and it's just gonna happen. It has to, man. It has to. I was watching Parasite win Best Picture at the Oscars, and it's such a beautiful moment, and I can't wait for that to happen when BTS does it, because BTS is going to do it. They are. It's just it's not a matter of like if, it's just when, you know. Hopefully all those boomers that vote and everything realize what they're doing, and they're gonna win, man. They're gonna win. I'm just manifesting it. They're gonna win, and it's gonna be deserving, and we're all gonna be so happy. I'm gonna be so proud of them.
The Love Yourself series, starting with Love Yourself Her in September of 2017, Love Yourself Tear in May
I
of
really like the art style of that, by the way.
2018, and
The
Love
art style's
Yourself
really
Answer
cool.
in August of 2018. 3 albums that gave us some of the most classic BTS songs that we know and love today, such as Mic Drop, Fake Love, Euphoria.
That's my first song I ever heard by them, by the way, is Fake Love. Fake Love. That's my first song I'd ever heard. Love that, man.
Idol, and of course, all 3 albums were commercial successes, Her being their first album to top 2 million album sales. But Tear and Answer also did equally well. These 3 albums, as well as their Japanese album, Face Yourself, proved that they weren't done yet, not even close. During this time, they shattered countless records. Their singles went platinum, they topped charts, they won awards. And not only did they break YouTube records, but they broke records that they themselves set again and again and again. This is the period where BTS really started enjoying global recognition, working with huge Western artists such as Nicki Minaj, Designer, and
God, so many K-pop groups, man, they need forever. They're gonna thank BTS for kind of sending K-pop into it's still not mainstream in the United States or English-speaking countries. It's gonna get there eventually, but they really did just blow open the door for just the global success of K-pop. Of course, K-pop was growing, but K-pop really needed a group to just go crazy, and BTS did that, and they should always be just like thanked. And of course there's people before them that should also be thanked, because they took the next step. BTS took the biggest step so far, and there's probably going to be a group eventually in the next 10 years that takes a bigger step than maybe not BTS. Maybe BTS just keep riding this for the next decade and they keep going. I wouldn't doubt it, but right now, like, they have like the biggest they deserve the biggest credit for what they've done to help K-pop to just go mainstream and just global. You know what I mean? They did. So many people should be thanking them.
and Steve Aoki. It wasn't their first time having international features on their songs, but it was definitely the biggest. And even though they were already, without a doubt, the biggest act to ever come out of South Korea, they had their eyes set even higher. They went on tour once again for the Love Yourself World Tour. During this tour, they collaborated with Steve Aoki to make the song
Kim
Wasted
Jong.
on Me. Notable for being their first all-English feature, and it also served as a jumping-off point for BTS to gain a following of English speakers. Not that they were Map of the Soul Persona. First things first, you can't mention Map of the Soul Persona without mentioning Boy With Love. It was simple math.
Yeah,
what
man.
do you get when you cross the singer of one of the best charting songs of all time that went platinum 59 times in 13 different countries with, without a question, the most globally dominant pop group of all time? Well, you get this. Nothing less than an instant hit. Number 8 on Billboard Hot 100, platinum in the US, 21 music show wins, number 1 on iTunes in 67 different countries, the most liked and the most viewed YouTube video in the first 24 hours, the fastest video to reach 100 million views, a current view count of over 1 billion views, 7 boys, 1 girl, and 7 different hair colors. They were the talk of the town, invited to talk show after talk show after talk show. The second single on the album was Make It Right. Written by Ed Sheeran himself, including a version featuring Lau. The album debuted
I
at
did not realize that was written by Ed Sheeran. No shot, dude. That is amazing. What?
Number 1 on Gaon and sold
did not
3.2
know
million
that.
copies its first month, and that's
Oh my
only in Korea.
gosh.
It became the best-selling album in South Korea ever. It swept every major Korean music show, winning Album of the Year in each one of them. They followed up this legendary EP with the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself World Tour, where they sold out both the Rose Bowl and the Wembley Stadium in only an hour, the only non-English speaking act to do so. They even performed as a solo act in Saudi Arabia, the first foreign act to do that. The last stop of their tour was at South Korea's largest venue, the Seoul Olympic Stadium. They ended up grossing $200 million. During this time, they also created a visual novel style game for mobile devices called BTS World, where the player can interact with the members. This also came with an original soundtrack with tracks unique to the game featuring Western artists. Zara Larsson, Charlie XCX, and Juice WRLD for the tracks
Juice
Brand New Day,
WRLD.
Dream Glow, and All Night respectively.
I love their song with Juice.
In December of
Rest in peace,
2019,
man.
the group swept the grand prizes for both the Melon and Mnet Music Award shows, the first artist to do
I'm pretty
that.
sure a lot of people. I'm pretty sure they got hate for winning all those awards. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the industry, the K-pop industry, got really upset they won those all,
Map-
which they deserve it. But yeah, pretty
The
sure.
Soul persona
A lot of people got
was
upset.
legendary, truly a marvel in modern music.
So, how could BTS follow up the best-selling album in South Korean history, you may ask?
Easy. Make an even better selling album. And that's what they did with Map of the Soul 7. The album
I
was
bought
released
it.
on February
I have it.
21st of 2020, featuring the singles Black Swan and On. And sold over 4.1 million albums in just the first week, and the first Korean album to be certified as quadruple million on the Gaon Music Chart. It debuted at number 1 on music charts all over the world, including the US, Korea, the UK, Japan, and much of Europe. It's not an exaggeration to say that this album left a permanent mark on the world, launching BTS into legendary status and becoming the best-selling artist in South Korean history. BTS had scheduled a Map of the Soul tour for April of that year, which would have undoubtedly outsold
I
their
would have
record-breaking
gone. I
tour
literally
only
would
a
have
year
gone
prior.
to a
But
concert.
unfortunately,
I was gonna
the
go to San Francisco.
COVID pandemic caused the entire
was
tour to
literally
be
gonna go.
postponed, including the show at the Rose Bowl, which I was supposed to attend. But that didn't stop BTS, who performed virtual concerts, spoke at the Dear Class of 2020 graduation
That was
event,
really
and
cool.
released the Japanese version of their recent album with an original Japanese single, Stay Gold. And to top it all
I
off,
love
this was
J-Hope
only
spraying the hose.
June. At this point, it was clear that BTS had already dominated their home turf, and they had topped the music charts all over the world. This time, their sight was set for the very top. Remember that scene in The Social Network where Mark and Sean talk about how they don't want $1 million, they want $1 billion.
One of my
how they're
favorite
not interested
movies
in catching
ever.
14 trout, but they'd rather catch an 800
The screenplay in this movie, legendary. Just great screenplay.
on Marlin? Well, that's what they set their sights on. The Marlin, the biggest music industry in the world, the United States. And at the top of that music industry, number 1 on Billboard Hot 100. This small group from a company that virtually no one had heard about 8 years ago planned to take on Goliath himself and dominate the American industry on their home turf. And all they had to do was speak English. August 21st.
Dynamite.
Enter Dynamite. Their first and only English single so far, simultaneously performed better than anyone had expected, but at the same time is exactly what we as an audience had come to expect from the legendary boy band themselves. And they did it. They reached number 1 on the US Billboard Hot 100, the Global 200, and the Global Excluding US chart, and they made sure that if you hadn't heard of them before, you definitely have now. And if that wasn't already the biggest flex, on October 2nd, they came out with Savage Love BTS Remix with Jason Derulo.
Bro, I hate dude. Jason Derulo is so annoying, bro. I'm like, it's amazing they did this because it's like turned out great. But dude, I hate Jason Derulo, man. That dude really flexed it like he was the one that got it to number 1. This dude went to parties and like he was acting like he did this all, bro. It's literally BTS that did everything. This guy thinks he's popping,
Getting
bro.
number 1 on the Billboard
hate
Hot
Jason
100
Derulo.
again, less than 2 months
God,
after
so
already getting
cringe.
it number 1 with Dynamite. And on the Global 200, where they actually replaced themselves at number 1, the first artist to do so ever. So what makes BTS so special? How did they achieve all this? K-pop is a genre that spans for at least 30 years, and there have been hundreds of boy groups and hundreds of girl groups. What did BTS do to rise above all of them and break through to markets never before seen?
Historically, the boy band industry has been dominated by white English-speaking bands.
Yeah.
And the fact that BTS has not only held their own, but blew any sign of competition out of the water on a global scale can be attributed to nothing less than their talent, hard work, and a bit of a 1 in a million miracle. They did it through their own blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak.
Around the world, we see that
No pun
boy
intended.
bands have pretty much fallen into obscurity, but BTS
Yeah.
is thriving. And though I've stated this all before, it's worth saying again, in contrast to other bands who would sing about romantic relationships with girls and what some would call predictable bubblegum pop tunes, BTS is continuously pushing the envelope and changing their styles. According to an article by Vulture.com, they describe this style as much less a success for the Backstreet Boys and more of the successors of Michael Jackson, whose choreography and charisma were unprecedented. While of course there's a lot of love for the angelic vocals of BTS, rap has also played a very important part in creating their own style. In stark contrast to the typical boy band where every member sings, it's so refreshing when you're in the middle of a song and you hear RM's raw rapping skills, J-Hope's energy, or Suga's soul put into every single line. Interestingly enough, at the first glance, it seems that the success of BTS was miraculous, despite not being part of the Big Three, but it can also be argued that their success was because of their separation from the Big Three. Their label, Big Hit Entertainment, whose founder emphasizes artistic freedom more than anything else, allowed them to make their own sound. And going back to BTS universe, it's not often that a K-pop group does something special with each of their songs and albums, utilizing strong storytelling that can go beyond simply the song itself, but rather interconnected with other songs and even other albums to create one large overarching story. And not only do they all have their own expertise in performance, but also each of them have had the experience of writing and producing their own music, and they're not afraid to let their style evolve over time. BTS during their debut is such a far cry from Wings era BTS and current day BTS. They also chose to tackle more adult issues instead of simply love and girls. While they definitely didn't have a shortage of those, they also cover other very important issues such as mental health, regret, following your dreams, hard work, self-love, and many, many, many others. Add that to the fact that as fans, we can feel the authenticity of the members themselves. They seem approachable. BTS seems like there's a place for every type of fan. And in this fast-paced world where things change at unthinkable speeds, BTS has stayed grounded and faithful to who they were and who they are. Those kids we saw on American Hustle Life, along with their dreams and passions, are the same men who stand before us today. And while some artists like to keep their personal lives private, BTS gives us a look at their personal lives through their vlogs, which allow us to become more connected to them than ever before.
What is truly amazing is that, with the exception of just one single, they're doing this all while singing in their native tongue, Korean. Their music holds so much power that it literally breaks through the barriers of language. And no, they're not done yet. Today, November 20th, they're releasing their 5th studio album, B. Their singles on the album, Dynamite and Life Goes On. And chances are, life will go on for BTS. And chances are they'll continue to break even more records. They've shown that they're capable of dominating music charts across the world and even reaching across the Pacific Ocean and conquering the music industry in the United States. What's next for them? Mars? In any case, they've only started in 2013 and BTS is as strong as it's ever been. As far as we know, they will only continue to light it up like a dynamite.
That was really well done. That was really well. It's just, dude, I love the story of it, man. It's a beautiful story. There's a lot of things I didn't know in this, so that was actually really helpful just to know. And yeah, man, I just love their characters, love who they are, love just the growth of them, love how the evolution of them. It's just everything. It's just beautiful, man. It's literally beautiful. So yeah, that's gonna do everyone enjoyed. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comment section below. I hope everyone has a great day out there. If you're new here, subscribe, click the like button. I truly hope everyone has a great day. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.